Welcome everybody. I had a look at the long-delayed Imprint 4K release of Battle of Britain from 1969. So this is directed by Guy Hamilton, who did I've seen 11 films from. That's actually half of his filmography overall. He did 4 James Bond films, one of which was Goldfinger, which was great, and then another decent one in the form of Live and Let Die, but the other two not particularly brilliant. But he also did Funeral in Berlin, which was kind of the alternative kind of spy series with Michael Caine from the 60s as well. There's 2 other ones that Caine did in that period. Also did an Inspector Calls and Evil Under the Sun, which is one of the Agatha Christie Poirot films. So this is a war film, clocking it at 132 minutes long. And because it has such a large cast to this, just in a lot of ways like A Bridge Too Far, which Imprint also released on 4K, I'm just going to say the cast member and the number of films that I've seen them in. So Harry Andrews, 15, Michael Caine, 48, Trevor Howard, 15, Kurt Jurgens, who was in 6 films, Ian McShane, 18, Kenneth Moore, 5, Laurence Olivier, 18, Nigel Patrick, 6. In fact, one of those is The Man Inside, which we actually recently reviewed via Indicator. Christopher Plummer, 19, Michael Redgrave, 9, Robert Shaw, 14, Patrick Weimark, 7, and Susanna York in at 6. So, yeah, quite a substantial cast there. So in 1940, the Royal Air Force fights a desperate battle against the might of the Luftwaffe for control of the skies over Britain, thus preventing an attempted Nazi invasion. So despite the drama and action in the skies of this war film being far more compelling than what happens on the ground, I still find this to be an overall engrossing effort, while the pacing keeps things moving at a far better rate than you might expect given its length. The cast is also superb. The score is brilliant, regardless of which version you pick, as there are 2 versions that were made for the film, both of which are also available in this release. It is well shot. The production value is mostly of a high caliber, outside of some outdated visual effects. So the production in terms of what was filmed on the day in camera is really, really great. There's some post visual effects that aren't particularly on all that great. Saw this with also with one of Guy Hamilton's James Bond films, Diamonds Are Forever, in terms of the post visual effects, in terms of explosions, in terms of things being destroyed and such. Yeah, it's not particularly great. It hasn't aged all that well, and yeah, it really does take me out of the film at times when that happens, which is a bit of a shame, considering all of the practical, explosions and such, and destruction of buildings and planes and all that is also really, really good, outside of a couple of reused shots. So yeah, it's a shame that the visual effects let it down a little bit. The action scenes, though, are also spectacular and well handled as well in terms of their general execution. And all the while, I appreciate that it shows off the contribution that the Polish pilots made to the war effort, while also acknowledging that other countries also played a part, like the Czechs and the Canadians, and all sorts of other countries as well, in terms of fighting the Nazis in the air via plane warfare. So yeah, an overall really, really good film, and it gets a solid 4 out of 5. And this box, this hard box, and this release overall from Imprint is also once again really, really well done. So we get 2 cases with this, as well as a hardback book, and we also get the reverse as well, which has a quote from Winston Churchill on the back: "Never in the field of human conflict was so much owed by so many to so few." And then we have the side as well. So yeah, number 500 in the Imprint range. Not sure if they've released any more than that since, because obviously this was supposed to be out in December, then it got delayed to January, and then finally February. So yeah, been a long time coming for this, but I'm finally glad that we do have it. And then we have the 4K case itself. Not sure if there's any reversible sleeve artwork on this. Yeah, which has a shot of a Spitfire or 2 on the reverse. So you can put that up if you so wish. And yeah, then we have the disc on the film on 4K on the disc, and we have it on Blu-ray as well. And then we have the second disc, which has a bunch of the special features on it as well. So obviously these were too bigger special feature just to put on a Blu-ray disc or the 4K disc as well as the film itself. So yeah, those are there, and there's the inside of the case itself. And we also have a hardback book with this release as well, which is nicely done. So inside the book itself is the following was originally published in issue 45 of Cinema Retro in September 2019 for the 50th anniversary of Battle of Britain. That's the film, not the fight itself. And yeah, so it's called The Last Great War Movie. So at the end of the film, Battle of Britain, caption reads the quote that I've said already from Winston Churchill. And yeah, got a huge write-up in this with several shots from the film, including cast members such as Christopher Plummer and Michael Caine, as well as, like I said, shots from the film as well in terms of the action that is going on. So yeah, the action is really, really good. This is apparently a massively expensive film at the time, some like $14 million or something like that. So yeah, a Herculean production. Not sure if it made any money back or anything, but still, you have to admire the production level on this and the amount of money that was like really thrown at it, especially given it seems like war films at the time were kind of you know, falling out of favor. You know, the 60s were obviously chock full of you know, war films from the time. Bridget Ramagan is one of my favourites, but then you also got like Where Eagles Dare and such. So yeah, definitely a decade that was chock full of such things. I'm just trying to find the next write-up because obviously there's more than just the one in this. And unfortunately, there is not a contents like there is usually when it comes to these books. Hopefully I don't miss any out here because I don't want to. So then we also have release details as well. So that's about when the world premiere was, 15th of September 1969 at the Dominion Theatre in London, and all the other kind of premieres that were going on as well. And then we have a box office. So in the UK, Battle of Britain topped the box office list of both roadshows and general releases for 1970, but this success was not repeated in America, where it scraped back a mere $2 million in distributor rentals. And yeah, the speculation is the reason why it didn't do well in the US is because, well, it's more of a UK centered kind of film. Plus, you know, the Vietnam War was raging at the time, and yeah, war sentiment really wasn't, you know, all that there. And then we have Reporting for Duty on Battle of Britain. And then The Few That Flew. Death in the Skies. So that talks about the aerial sequences and how they were filmed, and obviously being before CGI, they were filmed for real for the most part. I imagine there were some miniature planes using this, but quite frankly, there's some crashes in this that do look pretty real. There's one crash involving a plane that ends up, you know, falling down the sky after being shot up and crashes into a beach, and that looks incredibly realistic. So yeah, not sure how they did some of it, but you know, hats off to them regardless. And then you have Tales from the Turret, Keep Watching the Skies, No Time to Fly. So they blow up that hangar, by the way. I'm not sure if it was a hangar that was in use at the time or not, but they definitely blow the hell out of it. Saltzman's Private Air Force. So he was a producer on this film. He also was co-producer on the first, I think, 9 James Bond films alongside Albert R. Broccoli. So that's one of several, you know, Bond connections to this. You've also obviously got Guy Hamilton directing, who did 4 Bond films. And then you've got the likes of Kurt Jurgens, who would be a Bond villain in The Spy Who Loved Me. as well as Robert Shaw, who would be a villain in From Russia with Love as well. So yeah, several connections there in terms of the Bond series. Apparently, over 100 planes were used in this film, and some 48 minutes of aerial combat on screen. At the time, it was described as being the 35th largest aircraft in the world, which is quite funny. And then you got Mixed Model Air Force, so obviously there were some model work used in this as well. And then you got the camera plane. So to film many of the aerial sequences, the production company used an old B-25 Mitchell bomber. So that was the plane was modified to carry the heavy 35mm Panavision cameras, which were positioned where gunners would originally have operated. And then you got the locations. So yeah, the aerial unit was based in Seville near the Tablada and El Copper airfields. So yeah, it really does go into detail, this booklet. There's no doubt about that. And then you got keeping it in the family, disbanding an air force. Apparently, a lot of the planes were sold to private collectors and are scattered around the world. 3 of the ME-109s went on to appear in the 1990 film Memphis Belle, while some others were modified to look like American P-51s for the film 1970 Patton, which was shot in Almeria, Spain. However, the majority of the full-size replica Spitfires and Hurricanes were destroyed during filming. But some have survived in various states of disrepair and ended up on display at museums in the UK. So, yeah, obviously a lot of them were destroyed. You see that on the film. Many of them get blown up. Then you also have in this Guy Hamilton, a gentleman in a league of his own. And then you got memorabilia. Interview with Steve Giorgio. Um, that's it. So yeah, quite a lengthy book that. I'm not sure if it has a page number. No. But regardless, quite a lengthy book. A lot of detail in there to go through if you are interested in the the production history of the film itself. But there are obviously a lot of extras on this as well. Now this is stuck on with a little bit of glue that you can easily get off by just spinning it around, and it will pull off easily, and it is attached to the back of the hard box. But they are also on the slipcover itself, the extras. So yeah, disc 1 is the 4K Ultra HD, and that is a Dolby Vision 2160p ultra high definition presentation restored from the original 35mm negative by Imprint Films themselves. And yeah, it looks and sounds really, really great. No issues whatsoever, really. Kind of comparable to A Bridge Too Far, to be honest. Then you've also got on that disc audio commentary by film historians Steve Mitchell and Stephen J. Rubin. That's from 2025, because obviously this film was supposed to be released in that year. And then you got audio commentary by aviation historian Dr. Victoria Taylor, also from 2025. And then you got an audio commentary by director Guy Hamilton, production manager Bernard Williams, documentary director Paul Annette, and assistant director Garth Thomas. And then, like I said, you've got 2 scores to choose from. So you got the original score by Sir William Walton, which was refused by Universal Artists as they heard it outside of the accompaniment of the film and said it's not good enough. It's too short for releasing it on an LP, so we need someone else to bump it up a bit. And they got Ron Goodwin to do that, which is also available with a single cue from Sir William Walton in that version of the score. So yeah, I use the William Walton version just because I don't think that's one I've heard before, given I've seen the film before, and I'm pretty sure the most common version will have been the one with the Ron Goodwin one. So yeah, it's still a good score, but I can definitely see why there was some reservations about it, especially because it is quite short. There's not a whole lot to it. So yeah, could definitely be a problem. And then on the Blu-ray disc, we've got a 1080p high definition presentation of the 4K restoration. Again, got the audio commentary from Steve Mitchell and Stephen J. Rubin. as well as from the aviation historian, and also from all three commentaries are the same, and the scores are available are the same as well. But we do have extras like the Battle of Britain documentary from 1969 itself, a film for the few featurette, authenticity in the air featurette, recollections of an RAF squadron leader featurette, images from the sky slideshow featurette, and a theatrical trailer as well. And on the special features disc as well, we've got a narrow margin, making of Battle of Britain, filmed by Simon Lewis, author of Making a Bridge Too Far from 2025. Then we've got film historian Sheldon Hall on Battle of Britain, also from 2025. Interviews with the production crew from 2025, and Why We Fight the Battle of Britain, propaganda film from 1943. So yeah, I didn't have the chance to deep dive into all of that just because I had the film itself to watch, and more besides. So yeah, I haven't gotten into those extras yet, but I'm sure they're well worth the watch. And yeah, overall, just a really good amount of extras there for the release itself. So yeah, highly recommend getting this if you haven't already. If you enjoyed A Bridge Too Far, then this is going to be right up your street as well. It's just more in the air than on the ground, no tanks or anything like that, for instance. So yeah, but still, really good film. And I'm not sure if Imprint gave me this little extra because of the delay of the film, or because I'm a customer of them for quite some time now. But they have given me physical extras before that aren't related to a film or anything, like a mug with the film The Gambler on poster on it. So yeah, and it's this little box here, which if we can get out eventually, it's a little bit of a tight squeeze. I will get it eventually. There we go. And it is a little metal sign of their label, or their logo, should I say. So yeah, really nice little thing, and it comes with a nice bit of foam in there as well to keep it nice and secure. Certainly wasn't something I was expecting, and I was wondering why the box that Battle of Britain came in was so heavy, the postage box, and yeah, this is why. So yeah, really nice little extra that, so really kind of pleased with that, and I will put that up at some point somewhere. So yeah, but the film itself, in terms of the film actually itself, is great, but this really is a solid physical release as well, and one that is well worth getting in if you're into your war films, or you just generally want to get into these kind of films to start with as well, because you've got a excellent cast, you got a seasoned director, and you got a high production budget as well to back it all up. And all in all, works really well. So yeah, not a perfect film like I've said before in terms of flaws, but definitely one that is well worth seeing. So yeah, but if you have seen Battle of Britain before, I'd like to hear your thoughts on it. But nonetheless, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.